YouTube channel. I hope you had a wonderful day. And I also pray that this weekend is going to be a great weekend for you. And please, as I've always said, I keep saying it so that I don't, so you get, you understand clearly what I'm trying to say. That life is a product of decisions. I've always been saying that. Whatever you ever become is a function of decisions you've taken. And I remember I also said the fruit you don't want to pluck, don't plant the tree. The fruit you don't intend to pluck, don't plant the tree. There's a program, it's about 10 minutes, time out with Hello David on BHF YouTube channel. And so the best thing for you, the best thing for everybody who wants to pluck the right fruit at his adulthood is to ensure that when he's still a child or a teenager, he plants the right kind of seed. Because it's the seed that you plant that will determine the fruit. People, we seem to find ourselves in a situation where people, Nigerians are very religious, even though they are not godly. There's a difference between being religious and being godly. You see somebody that goes to church, he goes to mosques, he's still a killer, he's still a robber, he's still a thief. So they are very religious people, but they're not really very, very godly. And that's why we see a lot of situations where we take decisions without an iota of fear of God. We don't bring God into the equation when we take our decisions. We take our decisions because at that moment we feel we want to satisfy ourselves. At that moment we want to see that we get what we want. We don't take a decision that shows that we have the fear of God in us. Because you see, the fear and respect for God is what will make you take decisions. So you take decisions based on fear of God. It doesn't matter who you are. You can be a chief imam, you can be an alhaji, you can be a bishop, an archbishop. These things are just titles. When I begin to see the decisions you've taken, that is when I will know whether you are godly or not. Because the decisions that you take is a function of if you have the fear of God. And it's the fear of God that determines a lot of things, a lot of things. So today, on this 10 minutes time out with Hello David on BHF YouTube channel, I want to tell you how I came out of secret court. I came out of drug. Somebody just asked now, say, am I a gay? I can't be, I'm not a gay. You can't be a godly person and you are a gay. Gay is another word for practical insanity. Those who are gay are people that have mental problem. So there's no reasonable person that will be a gay. A man sleeping with a man, a woman sleeping with a woman. That is abnormality. It doesn't make sense. God did not create gay. And this is part of what I'm saying. The decisions that we take determines if we have the fear of God. If you have the fear of God, it's a function of the decisions that you take. And so when you don't have the fear of God, that's when you become a gay or you become a lesbian or homosexual. It's not a medical condition. It's a decision. People take that decision because they don't have fear of God. They don't have respect for God. So they can do what they want to do. They do what pleases them, not what pleases God. So like I said, it's the fear of God. And most times there are things you want to do, even though you know they are bad. Yes, you have the fear of God, but you seem not to have the ability to take the right decisions. I found myself in that same condition years ago. Thank you for as many people that have joined us, making comments on this. You're welcome. This is a youth program where we advise and counsel the youth. So you are welcome to this broadcast, 10 minutes broadcast. So your decisions, you know that this thing is wrong, but you lack the ability to stop it. Like I said, I found myself in that situation years ago. I was a drunkard. I was an alcoholic. And I was also a cultist. And I was a male gigolo. So the things I was doing were too many wrong things on the head of one person alone. There was a time I had a brutal accident when my car somersaulted about 8 times because I was drunk, completely drunk. I almost died after that accident. I was into drugs. I was a cultist. I was taking some terrible decisions, carrying some actions and terrible actions. I knew that what these things I'm doing were bad. I knew. But I don't have the ability to stop it. I wanted to stop it, but I can't. I could not stop it. You're asking me if I still drink. No, you just follow me to the end of the podcast so I can tell you how I stopped these things. I was drinking so much. And when Black Knight whiskey came out, I drank the whole bottle of Black Knight whiskey. Took Indian ham. When I was driving out of my car, I was always with Indian ham regularly. Going to toilets, I smoke. Before I eat, I smoke. So I was living that kind of life. And like I said, you cannot be a hitman in a sacred court if you are not an alcoholic, if you are not a drug addict. Like I also said, I was then a member of the Buccaneers Confraternity of Nigeria. People will call Alora Sea Lord. I was a Sea Lord then. I was not only a Sea Lord, I was a hitman. And so most of the things I do it under the influence of alcohol and under the influence of drugs. I was dreaded because then I used to move out with gun. When I go to the bottle to drink, I go with gun, I place it on the table. And most times in the beer parlor when we are drinking, we put gun on the table, everybody leaves. So I was doing these things. I knew. Did I know they were wrong? I knew they were wrong. But I don't have the capacity to stop it. And I remembered years ago, because I wanted to stop it, I always make New Year resolution. Once it is 31st of December, I will look for any Catholic church to go. So when it's around 12 o'clock, I will run to the Catholic church. I want to enter New Year. I'll tell myself, this is a resolution I made. I don't want to take Indian hair. I don't want to take drugs anymore. I don't want to smoke. I don't want to take alcohol. And I want to pull out of court. Now, these were the decisions I made, the resolutions I made. And to be very candid with you, I meant it. In fact, there was a time I had issue with my teeth, and I went to the dentist. And they gave me anesthesia about 3 times. It was not working. And the doctor then looked at me, tested me, and said, there's so much alcohol in your body. You have to stop before it's too late. So I knew, but I couldn't stop. I was doing every terrible thing. I was on drugs. I was a drug addict. And I was also an alcoholic. I was not just taking alcohol, I was taking excess alcohol. Excess alcohol. And back then I used to mix brandy, soak it with Indian ham, put palm wine inside, soak it with palm wine also, the Indian ham, the brandy, the palm wine, then I put small stout in it. Then I'll put it inside the fridge. When it's cold, that was what I was taking. And like I said, I also did a lot of brutal things. I carried out a lot of actions, deadly actions, because of alcohol. That's why I try as much as possible to see how I can tell people to come out of drugs. Because drug is very destructive. It makes you do things that you are not supposed to do. Things you are not supposed to do, you begin to do them. We are under the influence of drug. Very destructive. I was doing a lot of terrible things. We were shutting down places, carrying out bloody actions because I was on drugs. Somebody who is on drugs and is also an alcoholic. 24 hours I was high. I was always high. Always high. Continually. I'm talking about how I came out. So more than 3, 4, 5, 6 years I was doing New Year resolution. New Year resolution. 31st, I would tell myself, this is the last time I'm going to take drugs. This is the last time I'm going to take alcohol. This is the last time I'm going to be involved in court activities. And I meant it. But I will go back and I'll do worse. I was smoking regularly. I remember when my friend, it's late now, when he traveled, and he came, what he bought for me was Marlboro, because I was taking Marlboro then on a regular basis. But attempts to stop, I could not. New Year's resolution could not stop it. I know I was dying gradually of alcohol, of drugs. I know it was destroying my system, but I didn't have the capacity to stop it. It's not about willpower. I see people now on drugs and the rest. You go to one. You think somebody who has the ability, capacity to stop, will not stop drugs. He knows that drugs is destroying him. That's what I was doing. I was taking it regularly. I was smoking on a regular basis. I wanted to stop, but there was no willpower. I keep making resolutions to stop. But the more resolutions I made, the more deadly I was getting involved in it. I was deep inside drug, deep inside alcohol, deep inside violence. Because like I said, I was a cultist and I was extremely violent. Extremely violent cultist. That's why I said some time ago, I said most of the politicians we are seeing, they can't stop you from taking drugs because they are also some of them are drug addicts. The politicians cannot stop cultists. They can't stop cultism. They can't stop drugs because they are also involved in it. They are also involved in it. So I asked myself, how can I come out of this thing that is destroying me? The doctors have warned me. How can I come out? All my effort to come out was null and void. Like I said, I'm not a religious person. I went to a lot of native doctors looking for power. Now I'm a cultist, so I needed power. Power against gun, power against cutlass, power against dagger and the rest. I needed power. I needed to fortify myself. So I went there to look for power. We were making attempts to travel then to Togo so I can be able to get myself involved, making power. And by where we were planning to go then was a place that vehicles can go there once in 2 weeks. That's when vehicle will be able to take you there once in 2 weeks. We're going there to look for power once in 2 weeks. After spending so much time with native doctors, I went to native doctors to the extent I almost became a native doctor because I needed to fortify myself because I was a cultist. I was a very bloody and rugged cultist. As time goes on, I'm saying this thing to help the next generation so I don't get involved in it. So one day my friend just called me and said, he just came and told me that I should escort him from Lagos to Warri. He came from Warri then. Said I should escort him to Warri. I said, what do you mean? He came to see me in Lagos. I should escort you to Warri. He said, he's going to buy fuel. He's going to do this, going to do this. Because then, you know, we're making illegal money. Most of the money we were making were illegal. Not the right money. So we had money to play with. I'll go to Babish. As time goes on, we'll talk a lot about the things we've done and how I came out. I will tell you before the end of this program broadcast. Then tomorrow I continue again to talk a lot about it. We need to go to Babish then in the morning. We go to Babish around 7 p.m. in the evening. And we'll drink in the Babish. We'll drink there till 2 o'clock. At times we even have sex in the water, in the river, in the Babish water on a regular basis. A lot of people know me there in the Babish. Then they used to call me No Shaking, and so No Shaking. Because we have illegal money. So we're spending money in thousands and thousands and thousands. Buying roasted fish and all kinds of brandy. There was one time me and my friend, Ole, we stayed in his room then. And we took St. Remy Martins, about 4 bottles of St. Remy Martins with jumbo Igbo that we were smoking. Smoking a lot of India hemp. Terrible things. Please don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, BHF Movie on YouTube. Subscribe so that when we continue tomorrow, you always follow my broadcasts of the things we've done as a court, when we're in court, terrible things we did as courtists, terrible things we did as somebody who was taking drugs or somebody who was taking alcohol. So like I said, I escorted my friend from Lagos to Warri then. We went to see a man. When we got there, he said, let's just see this man and greet this man. I said, what am I doing here? The man was a Reverend Evangelist there, was a Christian. And so immediately I escorted my friend there. I went to see him. He saw me and he looked at me and he told me, it's time you have to stop. There are people inside his office. He said, the things you've been doing, you have lived a terrible life. You've harmed a lot of people. You've done dangerous things, but it's time for you to stop. I was a little bit embarrassed because there were people in the office. He said, oh, don't you know what I'm saying? I said, yes, I know what you're saying because I don't want him to go further. This is the first time I'm meeting him and he knows me very, very well, the way he talked. It's like he was seeing through me. He knew everything about myself. That before it's too late, you have to come out. Then I've lost a lot of friends. A lot of friends that were in court together. The room I was staying then in Sule with my friend, self-contained, I was staying there. That my friend is even late now. His friend also is late. Most of them are late. That we're carrying those actions together. That's why I want the youth of this generation, don't get involved. These things are deadly. I might not be as lucky as I was because God has his plan. I believe the reason why God kept me now is so I can talk to the youths, so I can advise them. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm doing exactly why God kept me. That's why I'm talking to you now. But like I said, life is a product of decision. So whatever decision you want to take is your business. You are free to take whatever decision you want to take. But always remember that there are consequences. If you take the right decisions, you plant the right seed, you will reap the right harvest. You sow the wrong seed, you will reap the wrong fruit. It's not about prayers. It's about the fruit. It's about the seed that you sow. It's the seed that determines the harvest, determines the fruit. The seed is what determines the fruit. And so God had mercy on me. And he told me it's the time. I remember me and my late friend then, we went to see a native doctor. He did charm for us. So that when they shoot us, it will not enter. When they cut us, it will not enter. So we do charm for gun and cutlass. We were cultists. We were highly dreaded cultists. And I remember I asked the native doctor then, I said, I've seen a lot of people that do charm for cutlass and gun, and yet they still die. He said at times the power will leave the body. So I told the native doctor, then how will I know when the power has left my body? If I'm face to face with gun, how will I know that I still have the power? Is there any sign? He couldn't tell me anything reasonable. So I told him I don't want to do it. My friend did it. Later, my friend was killed. Because when you do these things, they have a tendency to push you to always to do violence. You do mercy for gun and cutlass, it pushes you because you get false confidence. You want to get yourself in those violent activities. As we begin to conclude, the time is fast spent. Please don't forget to subscribe. We're going to continue tomorrow. And I told myself then, I think I'm tired of this thing. What do I need to do? And I said I should surround myself completely. Not to go to a church, but to have an encounter with Jesus. That everything I'm trying to do to come out of, that Jesus will help me. I remember the first day I went to church. That was Christ Embassy. They used to call it Believers Love Word when I was still in school. When I enter, they were doing church then opposite CAF C, in the boys' hostel. When I went there, they were shouting because it's opposite Hostel H in school there. People in their windows were shouting, "What is the devil doing in the church? What is this devil doing in this church?" They were calling me devil. They were shouting, "What are you doing in church? What are you doing in church? Are you going to attack somebody?" Because I was a logo. I was a band logo. Band, that's Buccaneers Association, Buccaneers Confraternity of Nigeria. Buccaneers Association. Band, Brothers Across the Niger. I was a known band member. I was like a logo. A logo. Once you stand with me, they will know definitely you're a Buccaneer. And when I get home, I always go to Waterside in Warri then. That's where we were taking drugs. Waterside was one of the most dangerous places in Warri then. They call it Waterside. They sell all kinds of drugs, all kinds of criminals. That's where they come to. The police dare not go to that place. No policeman dare goes there. It's a very bloody. But if you're not a hard man, you cannot find yourself in that place. It's one of the most dangerous people in Warri. Hard men in Warri that go to those places. And they told me I have to have an encounter with Jesus. Jesus. And to cut a long story short, decided because I was tired of it and I need to come out. It was when I had an encounter with Jesus that he brought me out of drugs. As I say, you cannot come out of drugs except through Jesus Christ. Whatever counsel they give to you, whatever advice they give to you, you don't come out of drugs by counseling. You don't come out of alcohol, out of cult activities by counseling. Counseling does bring you out. You can go to all the counselors in the world. They can counsel you, no matter where they take you to. No matter the rehab center they carry you to. No rehabilitation center can save you from drugs. The only one person that can save you from drugs is Jesus. It was Jesus that saved me from drugs. And I've come out of it for over 20-something years now. I'm out of drugs. I'm out of cults. I'm out of alcohol. I've never tasted drugs, not even smoking cigarette at all, except talk of taking drugs. What I tried to do for years through resolution, just one moment of accepting Jesus as my Lord and Savior, He removed the taste of drugs from me and destroyed the desire. Like I said, we are going to continue tomorrow. From where we stop today, I'll tell you a little bit of myself deeper as some of the things we did even when we were cultists. We are saying all these things right now so that the youth will not get involved. Not everybody survived it. Well, the biggest regret I have today right now is that most of my friends that were caught together, they are dead today. They'll be killed from court. Now, the ones that were not even killed, they have scars in their body, scars, all kinds of scars, because of their involvement in drugs. So the only way you can come out of secret court, the only way you can come out of drugs is through the power of God. That is, accepting Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you can never come out. My auntie, I call her my auntie, but like I said, we are almost age mates. Just about 1 or 2 years older than me. She's late now. She died because of drugs. She died because of drugs. I have a lot of friends that lost their sisters because of drugs. I have a lot of friends, Rockstone and the rest, habituals in secret courts. They lost their destiny. They lost their life because of their massive involvement in drugs. Many of them, I grew up in Saple. So most of my friends then, they were in Saple, were together in drugs and the rest. Most of them are dead today. They couldn't come out of it. And I thank God that God helped me and accepted Jesus as the Lord and Savior, and I came out of drug. If not that I came out of drugs by now, I would have been gone. That I was taking them in excess. Like I said, I was a bloody hitman. I was not just a drug addict, I was also a hitman. And like I said, I used to be a member of the Buccaneers Confraternity of Nigeria. And each time we're moving, then we're moving with gun and drugs. Gun that we're prepared to use at any time. So I advise you to come out of drugs. That's why we are doing this program. This is a youth program. Come out of drugs. Most times it is not what you want to do that you do. Once you're on drugs and you are fully armed, you don't want to use the gun, but you end up using it because you're on drugs. You don't know when you take out some actions that you're not supposed to take out. You don't know when you stab somebody mistakenly, you stab him in his heart, close to his heart, and he bleeds to death. You don't know. That's why I advise people to come out of secret court, come out of drugs. You can. I tried advice for years, as I'm telling you, I tried advice. Advice could not work. Counseling could not work. They counsel me from here to, after the counseling, I take more drug, I take more alcohol. I was always moving with gun because I had a lot of enemies everywhere. I'm prepared to use it at any time to protect myself. This was what I was doing until God saved me. I was a notorious courtist. I was well known, well respected courtist. But please, I'm advising the youth, don't get involved in drugs and court. It's very dangerous. You might not survive it. Until we meet again tomorrow, please subscribe to this YouTube channel and to continue our discussion tomorrow. It's a youthful program, trying to help the youth not to make the same mistakes that we made. Oh, if I had the opportunity to rewind again, I would have liked to live my life again. I did terrible things I'm not supposed to do. We'll continue again tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll talk a lot about the activities we're doing, sleeping with different married women, and how it affected, some of us affected our lives. Please take good care of yourself until we meet again tomorrow. Stay out of drugs. Stay out of alcohol. Take good care of yourself.